Namaste. Welcome to my channel. Welcome, beautiful souls. My name is Sadhana. I am an intuitive reader, an intuitive healer. And today I'm here to share with you the Cosma Visions Oracle. This is a latest creation by James R. Eads. When his name appears in emails and so forth, it looks like James Reads, but it's James R. Eads. And I have not yet started working with this deck. So what I thought we would do today is I wanted to talk a little bit about the intention for this deck, how I plan to work with it, and maybe share with you and offer some ways that you might like to work with this deck. If you're feeling, I've been listening to other people's chat about this deck and how people are not quite sure the way to use it. And this should become clearer as we carry on with this chat. We'll talk a little bit about death, and I wanted to bring in one of my favorite chapters from a book that really brings some light around life after death, or specifically the transition from this plane to another, and just kind of let this go where it needs to go. I was hoping that I wanted to read the first introduction, the meditation on death that is included in the large book. So with the Kickstarter, I also got the large book that is the full reference for the Cosma Visions Oracle, as well as the Prisma Visions Tarot deck, which I don't have yet in my collection, which I might, I may add to this. But I've also been reflecting on what other tarot decks I might use in conjunction with this. One of them is the Wild Unknown. That's come up just as I've been reading James, the large book, since I received the deck, and I haven't even cracked open the deck yet. I just pulled the little cello sleeve off right now. So you're really getting my, I mean, I have seen a larger version of the cards because they all appear in full color in this book. It's an absolutely gorgeous book, and I will be turning the camera. But in this large book, you get a full half page, and it's approximately, I'm going to say 6 by 8, larger actually. It's beautiful. It's absolutely a stunning book. And this is something that, you could just purchase this book and use it, in a bibliomancy kind of way. It's really quite something. So hello to Kyle. Thanks for joining me here. And as we go through this chat today and talk about this deck, talk about this very interesting subject, this transition between this plane and another plane, please go ahead and share your references. If you have other favorite books that you've read on death or the transition from life to death, if you have personal experiences, I would love to hear your stories either in the chat today or in the comments below. And let's use this spot, let's use this video as a marker to come back and fill up the comments below with resources and support for people who are going through some challenges. And I suppose one of the ways that I see using this deck is as a resource for people who are caregivers for those who are on their way to another dimension. I think this would be a tremendous resource and a comfort, because when we are caregiving, when we are looking after someone who is dying, there are beautiful opportunities for conversations. There's a closeness to spirit, and to have an oracle like this in your hand might be something really, really special. And so I hope you enjoy the meditation on death, which I'm going to take my time and read through that in just a few minutes. There was something else that just came to mind. Perhaps it'll flash back. I don't have a big plan for today, but I do know what I want to cover. I wanted to do this live because it would require way too much editing, but also to give you an opportunity to chime in if you would like to chime in. And perhaps even there'll be time for a reading or two at the end. I'm in no hurry here, and so go grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and stay with me as long as you are able, okay? So So I'm going to switch the camera so you can see the cards as I read through this meditation on death. And it's going to be several minutes long because there are approximately 6 lines for each of the major arcana. And this will give you a real opportunity. I'm also going to talk about how this deck is structured. And you can see in the title, the question was, is this a tarot or is this an oracle? And tarot decks are oracle decks. Oracle decks are not tarot decks. But what is an oracle? An oracle is something that helps us to see ourselves, right? Oracle decks are a mirror. They are a way to connect with spirit. And this deck, of course, can be used as a tarot deck. It can be used as an oracle deck. But I think it is something special. It is something that has a potential to really bring us closer to a clear understanding of what that space is and how we can work in liminal space and how we can use liminal space to make life easier, to understand life more clearly. Okay, so welcome. Good morning to Mary Beth. The name of the book that I just mentioned, this is the book that comes with the deck. This is the large Cosma Visions Oracle, and on the other side is the Prisma Visions. And the meditation on death that I'm reading is written by James, and it's at the introduction to this book. Hello, Priscilla. All right, so I'm going to go to here. For some reason, Amber's whining. Hopefully that won't last long, and I'm hoping the light will cooperate with me today. You're welcome. Okay. The structure of this deck is the major arcana, as with all tarot decks, is connected to the element of ether. And specifically in this deck, the first 22 cards are connected to the transition between death and life. So we begin with 0, the Fool, as death, and 22 is if you will, the re-entry back into life. And it is like a mirror reflection of the Fool's journey. Oh, death. It is what we often fear most and know so little about. We imagine it as the soundless dark void where there is nothing everywhere. But in this oracle, death marks the start. Perhaps it is here that we can finally see death not as the impending force of doom we so fear, but rather an escort to our next chapter. It is the end of a cycle and opens a door for a new lifetime to unfold. You float above yourself, and sense of peace washes over you. The Crow. As if from nothing, the crow materializes. Emerald green ribbons of light shimmer around the crow as it carries death away on its back. The crow flies with certainty, and it understands there is an appropriate direction to all things. That which comes must eventually go. It is during your time with the crow that you must come to terms with your new state. While the crow may seem small, it is the magician manifesting a strong current of energy from within. The Swan. The crow delivers your soul to the swan. You see the majestic creature as she floats effortlessly across the glassy water, scattering droplets in elegant patterns. She is at peace with her existence and understands that which is buried deep in the mind. She is your guardian for all important magical transitions and reconnections. With grace and warmth, she unlocks your unconscious and reunites it with your conscious. As she drifts to the melody of the universe, everything comes swirling back to you in a brilliant flash. You feel more connected to yourself than ever before. This is such a beautiful reflection of the High Priestess energy, and I love that we glimpse the energy of Saraswati here. melody, the love and the bhakti that brings us closer between these dimensions. And if you look at the swan in the horizontal, of course, you see the heart and the connection, the love that is so important to our journey. Then you come upon a glowing doorway in the middle of a shallow pool of water. The peacock sits atop the door, and its feathers cascade down with eyes that seem to follow your every move. As you lock eyes with the bird, a feeling of ease washes over you. And the peacock is the gatekeeper between the physical world and the spirit plane. It gives you assurance that moving forward will lead you to another fertile world. The pulsing colors within the door call you towards it as you step through, unsure of what is to come. And I can see that some people may have trouble with the energy of this being a peacock and not a peahen, being connected with the energy of the Empress. But we see all these beautiful colors and the light, the protection. I think to move away from the the connection of the divine feminine and the separation of the masculine and feminine energy, I feel isn't entirely necessary here. We need to learn to bring those energies together. Then the pelican is the first bird you encounter as you cross over to the spirit plane. It is the emperor of the unknown. The glowing scepter in its claws filters the world you see. And instead, the pelican shows you what must be seen. It is the guide for yourself within. It requests your deepest fears, sorrows, and pains come to the surface. For some, only mere hours are spent with the pelican. For others, it can be years. Once you have settled your physical karmic debt, the pelican takes the debt into its scepter and grants you passage forward. You notice a fiery streak zipping across the space beyond you. You call upon the phoenix, and it soars in the sky like a delicate explosion. The parade of colors streaming from the tail of the phoenix contains traces of all the goodness you have engendered in your life. With these memories guiding the giant bird, it dances in the sky in true freedom, celebrating your new awakening. And in the beauty of this moment, void of all inhibitions, you realize you are finally free too. In a bright flash, your soulmate, your soulmates wrap around you in a cosmic embrace. In this moment, you feel safe and loved. We travel through time with these souls, and each one changes us into who we are meant to become. Some challenge us and others lift us up when we are on the edge of light. Through them, you feel absolute love. The spirit plane pulses with a warm magic that feels like home. The light here is a greenish hue, but feels warmer and brighter than anything you felt on earth. The air is sweet and tranquil. Orbs of light float by you. These are souls. A constant melody seems to follow behind each one, as a soul in the spirit plane there is in no conflict or sadness. War and disease do not exist. Time does not exist. Inequality is an unfathomable concept. Life here is blissful, but without the bad, it is difficult to discern the good. In the spirit plane, we learn many things from the orbs that we cannot learn on earth. These are wise souls who have lived lives upon lives and no longer reincarnate into human form. They exist only in the spirit plane and know all there is to know. They are omnipresent and imbue lost souls with bravery and strength. They teach us about things we hardly remember about on earth: the cosmic tree, life maps, karma, sacrifice, and past lives. They remind us of the maze and warn us about what comes after. I think this beautiful interpretation by James here is going to inspire, because a lot of us come in contact with various orbs of various colors and sizes, and it's very difficult at times to interpret what these orbs represent. And his language here about around the energy of orbs, I think, is really, really useful to understand and to be more patient with the messages of the orbs. 9, the cosmic tree. We are told that the cosmic tree is at the epicenter of all souls. It is where we all come from and where we will all return one day. It has many names over time, but at its roots, it is the collective unconscious unfolding for eternity. It is the great mother, the life source of all souls, and the heart of truth in all things. It has existed since the beginning of time and will exist long after we are gone. It is wise not to seek out the cosmic tree, but rather to find comfort in its existence. And I think this is an incredible way to view the hermit. Just listen to that last sentence, right? It is wise not to seek out the cosmic tree, but rather to find comfort in its existence. And this, to me, is just, it's a reminder to sit and to be with spirit, to be at ease with life as it is. 10, life map. A life map is a blueprint of your complete history. Everyone has one, and no two are the same. As a spirit, it is easy to decipher your life map from the entanglements of glyphs. Each glyph represents a life you have lived, some simple and others more complex. The life map contains traces the karmic debt we've acquired, the people we've loved and the ones we've wronged. It shows you where you've been and where you are going. But to the mind's eye, it just looks like glyphs floating through the cosmos. While each life map is different, they are all balanced in the end. Your inevitable fate, the cycles of you illuminated and understood. I just had this incredible thought. How many of you see, what do you call them? When you you blur your vision, and some people, you see things in the ether. And I know that the common interpretation is that this is something that is on the lens of your eye. This is something that can be corrected. But I follow floaters, right? Some people refer to them as floaters. But this card reminds me of times where I have sat in all different kinds of light, in not quite in meditation, but on my way to a meditative state, and had little conversations with different aspects. And I actually can see some right now out of the corner to my right, conversations with these floaters. And I'm wondering if this is inspiration here. So here we are at the 10th card, right at the wheel. And we're in connection and we're communication with something that is around us all the time. Anyway, it's very random thought, connecting floaters to the life map. Sometimes I just got to, go with what comes through. 11, karma is universal justice. It can never be controlled and will always restore the balance in all things. It is at the core of why we are brought together with people in our lives. Karma is like a complex knot you are trying to undo. We all start with an unknotted string, and as life goes on, we have more karmic debt to untie. Karma brings clarity and truth through cause and effect. It is invisible to the naked eye, but it is what tips the scales and what morphs universal coincidences and into cosmic enlightenment. Ooh, I love that. It is what tips the scales and what morphs universal coincidences into cosmic enlightenment. Really loving the mirrors in these cards. 12, sacrifice. We tend to get away from this particular keyword for the hanged man. And I think it's wonderful that this deck has brought this particular meaning back. And oh, Kyle Liz is seeing floaters in her right eye as well too. Okay. So here we have we have a mirror of a hand. We have a colored hand down here, and then we have a black and gold hand up at the top. Embedded in the weightiness of karma is sacrifice, the tough part of letting go of something you hold dear. This feels like my work. But from the orbs, we learn that sacrifice is sometimes necessary in order to move through things. Sometimes sacrifice can be an offering to a higher power as an exchange for something you deeply desire. But we must be careful not to sacrifice too much, that if we lose focus of our own morals and authentic self. There's a few grammatical errors in this text, but I will carry on. Past lives. If you have Osho Zen Tarot handy, can you tell me in the chat which card is the past lives card in the major arcana? I'm just curious which card it is. So we are at 13 past lives. Okay. One of the most important lessons learned in the spirit plane is of past lives. It can easily be forgotten on earth, but it is crucial in understanding the journey of the soul. Each life you have lived is representative of a different awareness you have developed with the world. In each of these lives, you have overcome obstacles and learned invaluable lessons that have given you the perspective that you hold today. Understand that it is not your imagination, but rather the distance of memory, and that you are greater than yourself. In fact, you have had many selves and have had many bodies. Okay. Daria, welcome. Hello. "14, the maze." Interesting that this is called the maze and not the labyrinth, because there is a subtle nuance, right, to that. In a labyrinth, one is never lost. There are no dead ends. But in a maze, there are. And it is not a maze, it is the maze. Interesting. Hi, Nancy. Welcome. So Nancy, I am reading through the initial meditation. So we're just taking our time going through the major arcana. And then I've got lots of other goodies to share with you today. So here we are at the 14th card. Then you wake up, you find yourself alone in the maze, an endless labyrinth of corridors. Okay, so this is not exactly a labyrinth, because in a labyrinth, we don't have these little dead ends and spirals that lead to many, many outcomes. There is an exit at the center of every circle, and you could just take any one you walk by, but only some exits lead to a life meant for you. There are many great lives. You are meant to live buried deep in the maze, but you'll eventually have to walk towards one that calls your name. Or you could spend a lifetime walking in vain. Good morning, Tamsin. Good morning, Candy. The glow of a peculiar vessel draws you in like a familiar embrace from a partner. You feel a radiating energy and edge closer towards it. It whistles a seductive song and you become fixated. All you can focus on is the vessel, and it urges you to open it. Ignoring the inscriptions on the body, you remove the lid and everything around you goes dark. I'm just looking at the inscriptions. So this is your Pandora's box card. Is there is there a tarot deck that has Pandora's box as the 15th card? Hi there, Scott. Welcome. I'm wondering. So I'm just waiting if anybody found with the Osho Zen, if got that. So this is my second question. I'm giving you guys a bunch of homework. The past lives card in the Osho Zen, what number is it? I just wondered if it was the same, if it was the death card. And is there another tarot deck that has kind of a Pandora's box as the devil card? Because that's a beautiful interpretation. And then we come to the shore. When the darkness subsides, you find yourself on a foggy beach. Confused, you look around and see nothing familiar. The shore seems of another world. Fire rains from the sky and the air smells of soot. In the distance, you see a graveyard of broken ships. You travel towards the ships, unsure of what you are looking for or who you even are. As the waves pummel the cosmic floor, your sudden upheaval begins to wear on you, and the heaviness that hangs in the air creeps into your mind, and you drift like a forgotten thought. Have you chosen correctly? Why are you here? So there's a beautiful what I want to say, interaction between many of the cards, right? So this is asking if we chose correctly in the 14th card, the veil, 17. Almost invisible, you feel a light veil cascading down your being. Knowing anywhere could be better than where you came from. You push on, hoping for somewhere better on the other side. You emerge and notice a light, and then more lights start floating around you, brightening up the space you are in. You start to feel a little lighter as well. The colors around you have returned, and so has your will. I'm going to, okay. We have another, so the Osho Zen Tarot is a deck that I worked with for, oh my goodness, years. I'm going to say 2.5, 3 years, only worked with that deck. And this is another card that looks very much like one of the cards in that deck. The bridge. You come across a bridge. A strange breeze tosses specks of light in the thick air. You notice a figure standing on the other side of the bridge. It looks like you, or what you imagine yourself looking like. But as you step forward, the space around you ripples like a mirage and distorts your vision. Is this an illusion? Fragments of your past and future memories reflect onto the bridge and then vanish. The figure that was once at the other end of the bridge is no longer there, and you find yourself in, whoa, in their place. That is quite the card. Infinite pathways, explosions of bright light surround you. You get caught up in the swirls of color and emotion flooding your being. This feels like happiness, but it looks different. You start noticing beauty in everything around you and infinite pathways for your future life. You feel the magic of the stars, the warmth of the sun, and the illumination of the moon fills you. It is now that you realize your recent tumultuous journey was only part of becoming a new being. A chilling gust of wind knocks you out of your state of ecstasy. Whatever blooming happiness may have been left over from your recent enlightenment has faded into the unknown. This loneliness only grows as the judging wind whips against your back. You're unsure of what happens now or what comes next. You don't want to leave where you are, but the time has come to move into the unknown again. All right, and then this is the last one that I'm going to read from the guidebook, and then we're going to have a little bit of a discussion. And so 21, life on earth. Giant hands lift you up. They pulse with love so deep. You can feel it coursing through your being. It is in this first embrace, you are home in your new life on earth. When you are a young human, you can often recall your previous lives before being inside this bodily vessel. It is comforting. It inspires you. This new life is exciting for a long time. But as you grow older, having spent more time on this planet, you start to forget your old soul. It seems so far away, a different life, and this is your life now. So you adopt this world as your own, forgetting the real one behind until the next time around. And with great harmony, another cycle begins. Okay, so this beautiful journey through the major arcana is this question, this dialogue of this space between death and life. And oddly, I don't know if this is oddly, in my Facebook group, the book club. So we have a book club in my Facebook group. We're reading autobiography of a yogi now. We've just started, so if you want to hop in and join us, we've only had one meeting, and this, I have read several books that talk about death, that talk about the transition from death to life, or books where people have had, I can't even think of the word, experiences where they've crossed to the other side and then they've come back into their bodies and been declared dead and then come back. There's some really beautiful stories on that. But in Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda is in a hotel room in Bombay. And for some reason, he was on his way to the US, couldn't go. And so he's in this hotel in Bombay, and he has this vision. He has this vision of Krishna. And he takes this vision. There's no message that is received. It's just a brilliant light, a clear vision of Sri Krishna. And he sees this as a sign of something great that is coming. I mean, his whole life is full of greatness. But what happens 1 week later is that he is sitting in meditation in the hotel room, and his whole room fills with what I imagine from the description is something that looks like, something we have seen in these pictures. So it's like his whole hotel room fills with light and ethereal brilliance and colors. And then his guru, who has crossed to the other side, appears in full body form. And for the duration of this chapter, they have a long conversation about the transition from a life in this dimension to death. And his guru talks about the experience of what it's like on the other side, and talks about the different astral planes, and how, depending on your karmic journey and where you are as a soul, different, where you will go to different planes. And he talks about the plane that he is existing on now, and how he is working with astral, working with those beings who have come to a higher level, and they are having astral incarnations. And his role there is as a prophet to help them. So they don't actually come back to this earthly plane, but they do have several incarnations on this astral level. And then he goes on and he talks about the experience of coming back and forth to this planet, and how that actually happens and why that happens. And it's just it's a chapter that I've read so many times in this book. And I know that I have it marked. It's got a bookmark in it. It's full of highlights and underlines, and it just fascinates me to no end. And we were talking about this in book club last night, and that was about, what is it about the teaching of the yogis So in yoga, in meditation, one of the things that we are taught to do is to start to not be so rattled by our senses. And we learn in meditation not to be disturbed by noises or smells or sensations, feeling cold, feeling hot, and so forth. And so through the practice of meditation, we learn to dial down our reaction to our senses. And again, in this chapter, he talks about, I'm just going to read you this one little bit, because I could spend an hour just talking about this chapter. Hopefully I can find the right page that I wanted to. There's so many good things. Another thing he says here is the span of life in the astral world is much longer than on Earth. A normal this is advanced. So this is probably not you and me. A normal advanced astral being's average life period is from 500 to 1,000 years. But that wouldn't be in reference to you and me, because we are not astral beings. Okay, I'm going to find this because this is really important. This is really important. Okay. I might have to paraphrase it because, no, it's here. It's here. Okay. The fleshly body is made of the fixed objective dreams of the Creator. The dualities are ever present on Earth: disease and health, pain and pleasure, loss and gain. Human beings find limitation and resistance in three-dimensional matter. When man's desire to live is severely shaken by disease or other causes, death arrives. The heavy overcoat of the flesh is temporarily shed. The soul, however, remains encased in the astral and causal bodies. The cohesive force by which all three bodies are held together is desire. The cohesive force by which all three bodies are held together is desire. The power of unfulfilled desires is the root of all man's slavery. Physical desires are rooted in egotism and sense pleasures. The compulsion or temptation of the sensory experience is more powerful than the desire force connected with astral attachment or causal perceptions. So what I'm interpreting he's saying here is that for us humans, I'm just looking for that devil card. For us humans, the temptation of the Pandora's box is so great. And so if we can learn to leave the box alone, to not be so tempted to touch that box, to open that box, that we're going to find much more ease. Last year, my card for the year was the devil, and I did a video on the devil. If you want to go back and have a look at that, I'll try to remember to link it above later. So this is a really important teaching, and it just keeps coming back again and again and again. To watch the senses, to watch our pleasure and our repulsions, and to learn to live in a way that's more even keeled. And then he says the desire is there. The desire doesn't just connect the meat suit to the causal body. There is desire connecting the other bodies as well too. But this desire, if we divert it from physical pleasures and the sense pleasures or repulsions, to focus on the light, and desire, if we can shift the desire to be closer to spirit, and desire to be and to understand our our connection, then, you know, the whole process will be much perhaps expedited. Anyway, I really, really love this chapter, and every time I read it, I get something new out of it. Hello, Jonathan. Welcome. What is Candy saying here? I keep getting a clay vessel like that coming into visions in meditation. Wow. Okay, so perhaps then, Candy, the temptation, perhaps the message is to leave the vessel alone, to not open the vessel. That would be my first thought. Okay, so that's the journey of the major arcana. And how I see this working with this deck is to really use this major arcana as a deep reflection of what's going on. So if you're doing a reading and any of the major arcana show up, I feel like they're double exclamation marks to reflect upon whatever is going on here right now, because these different planes that we have existed in, or that we exist in simultaneously, however you view this spiral of existence, is it's so beautiful if we can see the mirrors and we can start to understand the connections between lifetime and lifetime and lifetime. I see this deck as a very personal deck. I'm not sure that I will be doing public readings with it, but as I get to know it a little bit better, perhaps that will be something that I will share. Hi, Joseph. Okay, so those were the majors. And then there's this extra card, which he referred to in one of the cards was this, this is one's called Sleeping Ships. And I'm going to go back and when I do my personal deep dive, I don't know if you remember which one it was, but that is referred to in one of the major arcanas. Okay. The minor arcana are borderless, and the minor arcana take us through our journey on this plane. And this is meant to be back here on Earth. So in the 21st card, we re-enter into a life again, a life on Earth. And so then we go to the Ace of Embers, and I'm going to go through the minors a little more quickly. And you'll see too, as we go through these cards, there are slightly different energies. I can read you how about if I read you one keyword for each one? That might be helpful. One keyword. They're just incredibly beautiful. Okay. So we'll go through the 10 cards for each suit, and then the court cards come at the end. Okay. Creation, willpower, and inspiration. Planning, making decisions, and leaving home. 3 of Embers, looking ahead, expansion, and rapid growth. So these do mirror very well to the suit of wands, RWS kind of suit of wands. 4 of Embers, community, home, and celebration. Oh my God, that's such a beautiful card. Some of these I have read and looked at. I've read most of the book, but not for every single card. Destruction, conflict, and struggle are the keywords for the 5. Victory, minor success, and self-appreciation. Hello there, Ange. Thanks for joining us. And yes, the panorama is really something. I'll just we can look at some of the panoramas after. Thanks for mentioning that, Jonathan. The keyword for 7 is self-preservation, defensive and maintaining control. That was Amber. Amber is whining behind me, behind the screen. 8 of Embers, rapid action, movement, and quick decisions. Resilience, grit, last stand. Love that word, grit. Interesting shift of color. Look how the color shifts here from the 9 to the 10. The keywords for 10 are accomplishment, responsibility, and burden. And I like that juxtaposition of those two keywords, responsibility and accomplishment. And then the suit of cups is called lotuses. Of course, in a deck like this, what else would you have for the suit of cups? Absolutely stunning. The dance of lotuses, love, happiness, heartbreak, and infatuation are the general keywords. So for the ace, we have new feelings, emotional surplus, and intuition. I wonder if this card is available on his as art you can buy. That's just absolutely stunning. 2 of lotuses is unity, partnership, and connection. Coexistence, synchronicity, and alignment. Apathy, contemplation, and disconnectedness. Disconnectedness is such a great keyword for the 4 of Cups. Hi, Jennifer. I really, really like that. Disconnectedness. It makes so much sense to me for that as a keyword. Okay, 5 of Cups. Loss, grief, and self-pity. I'm going to pull that one out. I'm going to do or did I do it already? On Tuesday mornings, I'm doing card comparisons, and I want to do the 3 of Swords and the 5 of Cups. And this, I'm going to use this deck because this fits in so perfectly with that. Okay, let's just go on. 6 of Lotuses, familiarity, happy memories, and healing. 7, oh, this is a beautiful, beautiful scape. 7 of Lotuses is searching for purpose, choices, and daydreaming. The cardstock is just luscious. Walking away, disillusionment, and leaving behind. So we have an underwater seascape here, and we have a, Jonathan, what kind of whale is this? Blue? A blue whale? The ones that you see breaching off, kind of poly, you know, beautiful. 9 of Lotuses, satisfaction, emotional stability, and luxury. 10 of Lotuses, this is an oh my goodness, look at this. 10 of Lotuses is appreciation, beauty, and peace. Peace. Ange says, I have seen that image in real life when the towns along the river were flooded. We would see old barns going down the river. Oh, this is the 5 you're talking about. Wow, that's powerful, Ange. Blue or humpback? It's, you know, it's those ones that you can see all those ridges on their underside. Anyway, just stunning. And then, so also notice the, oh, it's packaged. It's packaged. I tend to pay attention to this because there's always some hidden nuance. We're going to the suit of birds, but I noticed the court cards are packed a little bit differently. They're in a slightly different order. Okay, so here we are at the Ace of Birds. So the Ace of Birds is breakthrough, clarity, and sharp mind. Two of Birds, mindless, wasted energy, and unfocused. Heartbreak, suffering, and grief. Four of Birds, rest, restoration, and contemplation. Contemplation is a great keyword to add to that card. Five of Birds is unbridled ambition. Oh, interesting. Unbridled ambition, win at all costs, and sneakiness. So here, this is a beautiful, I'm looking at the large one, and there's an egg about to fall down here. And the eagles are fighting in front of the nest on this, that is precariously perched on this rock face here. Wow. Okay, Six of Birds, out of control, leaving behind and moving on. So this really is a response to the five. Candy asks, which is the newest deck? Is this one? This one. This is the newest deck, Candy. Yeah. Seven of Birds is obstacle, tactics, and strategy. Eight, imprisonment, entrapment, and self-victimization. Anxiety, hopelessness, and mental trauma. Okay, 10 of Birds, difficult ending, betrayal, and deception. And just continuing to describe her experience relating to that card. It was crazy. The ice jams and flood was intense. My grandparents lived 25 miles upriver, and they would call us, oh my goodness, to let them know when their barn was coming down the river. That is incredible. What an incredible experience. And then we go to Ace of Trees. His description for the embodiment of the suit is really something. So this is a very much Kabbalistic energy in this suit. So the wisdom, the experience, the journey of the other three suits is very much come full cycle and manifest and landed in this suit. Some of the language around these cards, the court cards in this suit are really, really something. And so we have new growth, opportunity, and prosperity. I'm pausing. I'm kind of in awe. I'm kind of in awestruck of the light and the energy that we see in the roots here. Wow. Okay. Two of Trees, balance, adaptability, and partnerships. There is a figure here with a water vessel on their head. Hard work, determination, willingness to grow. Greed, possessiveness, and materialism. I'm just going to read this one. This is a Four of Trees, so Four of Pentacles. This disparity of wealth is not uncommon and is something we still see today. If you have pulled this card, your feeling of disconnectedness and apathy or even anger towards the situation may not be wrong. Your insecurities have a place and they need to be confronted. You're putting in the work and not getting nearly the same reward back in return. Sadly, The grasp of material wealth is strong and intoxicating, and for some, they cannot see through it. If you feel that your time is not valued, confront the problem. If it still does not work itself out, it may be time to put your energy elsewhere. Glorious lavender spills out across the land. The air smells intoxicating, and the floral aroma seems to dance in the wind. In the fields, a group of day laborers pick the crop, waiting for the sun to go down. Meanwhile, a tractor drives toward the market to deliver a day's work, collecting the majority of the profits from the labor. Financial loss, illness, and hardship. I'm just getting a bunch of downloads for this card, and I think I'm starting to see this. Wow. I never saw the Five of Pentacles as the kind of the rape of the land. That's quite a I like that in that interpretation. So how can we take that to our personal experience? That's really powerful. Okay. Abundance, giving, and gratitude. I believe you can pre-order this deck, Scott, on James's channel. Not James's channel, on James's website, and I have linked it below in the description box. Seven of Trees is purpose, prosperity, and reward. Skills, accomplishment, and speciality. Sophistication, stability, and luxury. The grand palace boasts opulence and luxury. Steep spires jut out into the night, into the sky, and the ruby dome shines in the last of dusk light. Here behind the palace is a garden with a tree that seems to have taken inspiration from the grand palace itself. Shooting upwards into the sky, the giant tree is satisfied here in the shade of the monumental structure, and so are the 8 other trees encircling the garden. Very, very cool. It's like you know how hard it is to find spirit in 3-dimensional objects? And what I'm picking up on here is that nature, rather than like nature is mirroring the man-made. There's something very, very cool going on in this card. Because usually it's the opposite way, right? We build our structures to look like nature, but it's almost like nature is mirroring man. There's a very cool reflection in that card. Fulfillment, dreams coming true, and joy. Okay, and then the court cards they come together at the end here, and of course, you know, so James has described them as their own suit, but there's 16 of them. Like in any other tarot deck, you can use this as a tarot deck in the same way. It has a very kind of spiritual energy to it, and he calls this suit of the court cards the importance of being. So this suit is called the beings. The 16 beings speak to ourselves. You are not one of these, but all. Some of us have more of these identities active at a single time, and others exhibit only a few. Yours may change depending on the situation, time, or place. And when you see one come up in a reading, it is a strong indicator of your personality in the current situation. When you see many, it may suggest that you have many different feelings about a situation, or it may allude to a harmonious balance of different aspects of yourself coming together. The 16 beings create the bridge between the 4 suits. These are the court cards transformed. So we have, as the Page of Wands, we have the Wanderer, free spirit, new ideas, and inspiration. The Knight of Wands is the shapeshifter, beloved, malleable, and favorable. The Knight of Wands as the shapeshifter. That is kind of cool. As one of my teachers says, cool beans. The Queen of Wands is the mystic, courage, determination, and wisdom. And the King of Wands is the protector, perceptive, protective, and flowing creativity. When you pull the protector in a reading, it can be symbolic of an excellent time to take a deeper plunge into your creativity. We have 2 sumo wrestlers in mirror here. A molten figure emerges from the magma and pounces towards the snowy field. Keen perception gives them the upper hand in a duel as they arrive at the scene ahead of the foe's expectation. The protector has an inner need to guard their territory and those around them. They can predict outcomes of events before they have begun. The Page of Chalices. Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay, so the Page of Lotuses in this suit, in this deck, the Page of Lotuses is the composer. The Page of Lotuses is the composer. Interesting. Playful, harmonious, and energetic. I feel like this is not the right. So this one has gone to a different order here. So I'm going to go to the Weaver. Okay, so this is the Page of Swords. The Weaver, inspiring, intentional, and manifesting future. This is a beautiful card. Okay, so that's the Page of Swords. Or in this deck, it's the Page of Birds. And then the Knight of Birds, or the Knight of Swords, is the fighter, impulsive, vengeful, and quick to act. The Queen of Swords. So we've got a very icy scene here for the court card Birds. The Dreamer. So the Queen of Swords is the dreamer, perceptive, complex, and clairvoyant. And then the King of Swords, or the King of Birds, is the elementalist, clear-minded, truthful, and empowered. And we have what looks down here like a ballerina. And you can see that the skirt here and the energy is flowing off the skirt. The elementalist knows the truth in all things and sets action in motion as attempt to add good into the universe. They do not belong to one thing, but everything. The elementalist is completely harmonized with themselves, and so they are able to bend and manipulate fire, water, wind, and earth into creative and destructive forces. At times, they can be merciless, but when they keep their head above their heart and follow the path of universal consciousness, the results are spectacular. Okay, now I'm going to go back to where I was. So this, the composer is the Page of Lotuses, so the Page of Cups. This is a gorgeous card. And then the romantic is the Knight of Cups. Following the heart, idealist and romantic. The Queen of Cups, the Queen of Lotuses, is the Mender. The Mender, compassion, calm, and comfort. A wondrous display of lily pads color the water, and atop the largest one kneels the mender. With a sincere lightness, they take a broken lotus in their hands and offer it healing through compassion and care. The mender has found a potent energy within them and can channel into a brilliant force for healing. I'm wondering why he chose mender instead of healer. And then we have the peacemaker as the king of chalices. And that's a really beautiful interpretation. I know the king of cups can be very, very challenging for some people. Hey there, Andrew. Kimmy, hello, Kimmy Marine. So this is okay. So what else? What do we have? I guess we still have another suit. We have the pentacles. Yes, the court card pentacles. So the page of pentacles, or in this deck, the page of trees, is the pathfinder. Whoa, I kind of like that. The anthropomorphic lion takes the stance of a runner prepared to achieve victory at any cost. The ground beneath their feet shakes, waiting patiently to make their move. The earth is a playground. The ground offers a course to chart, and the trees give the pathfinder heights to soar. If there is a way to get there, they will surely find it. Ambition, diligence, and achiever. The knight is this is interesting. This is very different energy than I typically would associate with the court card pentacles. So the entertainer is the Knight of Pentacles. Skillful, amusing, and pleasing. Wow. So remember what I said earlier was that in this suit, you really feel that Malkut energy, that grounded, earthy, connected, embodied, integrated energy. And yeah, wow. Love that the Queen of Pentacles is the geomancer. The geomancer moves about as if they have roots connected to the ground beneath their feet. Dressed in gifts from nature, the geomancer walks lightly and with mindfulness, donning a mask reminiscent of the all-seeing eye. They organize particles of matter between their fingertips. This is beautiful. Offering sustenance to the seedlings below. Okay, and then this is the last card. So the commander. The commander. Wow. Resourceful, grounded, and controlling. Do you put the keyword controlling? So which king would you typically assign controlling to? Because I don't feel, I suppose in shadow, the King of Pentacles is controlling, but I would not put controlling here necessarily. Okay. So I am going to shuffle the deck. I'm going to try to put it back. I'm going to put it in order, and I'm going to offer a card to those of you in the chat. There's 22 people in the chat. So I'm going to draw a card for you. And I wanted to just say a couple of other things. I'm going to put them back in. I just need to wipe my hands. I don't know. These are just beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay. In the large book, so just so you can kind of, let's go back just 1 second. Let's go back to here just for a second. And I will zoom out a little bit. In the large book, so this is the book I've been reading from. On this half of the book, it's the Cosma Visions. And then if you flip it over on this side, it's the big guidebook for the Prisma Visions. And so I can, even though I don't have this deck, I can see the mirror card in the Prisma Visions. And in in this book, we also get, so these are this is what Jonathan was talking about. When you lay out the minor arcana, these are the landscapes that you get. It's just really, really beautiful. Where I was going though, what I wanted to say was that there's several different spreads that are offered in this book. And this particular one here, the mirror arc, his suggestion is to use the Prisma Visions and the Cosma Visions together. And then this spread here, this is really, really interesting. And I want to share this with you. I'm not going to do it, but I want to share with you the intention of the spread because it's pretty powerful. Oh, that's interesting. These court cards are closely related to the 16 figures of geomancy, and that's where James gets those meanings from. Okay, I will, I'll Google that and look at that. Hey there, Candy. We have 2 candies in the chat. Wonderful. Can't have too much candy, that's for sure. So this spread is called the Life Map, and the intention is that it maps out any given lifetime. So if you have a question about a lifetime, you lay down these cards, and the positions are birth, childhood, adolescence, adult life, old age, and death. And as you are laying this out, if you get a major arcana card, then you stop. And that would indicate the end of that lifetime. So it would tell you how long that lifetime was. Really, really intrigued with the spread. And I'm definitely going to be doing this one. And then there is there's a past life regression spread that is very, very similar to how you work with a Lenormand reading. And he suggests you really get to know the deck before you do that huge 22 card spread. Okay, so I'm very quickly going to turn these over, skip them all. I'm going to take out the sleeping ships because I need to study that one. And I think those are all the right. Okay. This deck is black holographic edges. And like, oh my God, this shuffles like a dream. Shuffles like a dream. Okay. If you would like one card, let me know, and I will pull a card for you for your reflection today. What time is it? We've been on an hour 13, so I'll go 15 minutes, and then 15, maybe not that, maybe 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness, this is, you know, there's a few decks out there that are just a dream to shuffle. And this could be I think my favorite deck to shuffle. I have a few, but this is really beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to go to, I think Kimmy was the first one. Okay, so this is for Kimmy. I'm not going to do a reading. I'm just going to just show you the card. Okay, ooh. I really, really encourage you to look at the artwork closely. This is a 7 of Embers for Kimmy. Look at how the phoenix is emerging from the book. The 7 of Embers. So this is a 7 of Fire. Okay. I'll do one shuffle in between. This is for Scott. Wow, you know what caught my eye was the whales in the background. This is the Six of Lotuses, so the Six of Cups. Okay, this is for Jennifer K. And I really, if you would like to maybe message me on Facebook, Jonathan, if you have a resource that you recommend. Just sorry, I'm going to stop talking before I draw Jennifer's card. For geomancy, I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so this is for Jennifer K. Soulmates. This is the Lover's card. Candy says, yeah, if in case you weren't already salivating. Okay. This is for Ange. So this is the commander. So this was the King of Pentacles, right? You know what I'm drawn to in this card, Ange, is the energy at his feet. Look at the energy at his feet. And it's very interesting how he's on the edge of the water and the land. Okay, I have damaged a card already. Yay. That's too bad. Okay. All right, this is for Candy. Candy. Whoa. I'm really intrigued with this card. You know, I really feel like this is like get the F out of there kind of message. Like get out of there now. You know, it's like there's something really, really different with this Six of Air card than in any other deck that I've seen. This is for Candy. Yeah. Okay. The GSM is described on, if you go to the link below, it tells you, that's one of the first thing it says on the description. Okay, so let's go to Kyle Liz. This is for Kyle Liz. This is pretty serene, Kyle Liz. Pretty peaceful. Eight of Trees. Beautiful. Yes, I totally agree, Ange. It does. It feels it's a little bit. It's not quite. I don't think it's quite as thick as this might hurt. Definitely put those two decks together later. Oh my God, Jonathan, do you know which rock I put out today as I caught the light in this piece of labradorite as I was setting up today. And I put this right beside me. I didn't know that. I love synchronicities like that. Oh, Candy, that's so funny. Oh, thank you for that link, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Christiana, hello. I don't know if I said hello to you. Did you just come in? Okay. Priscilla, this card is for Priscilla. All right, Priscilla. It's cutting so beautifully. I really love the description for this card, and I can see all the orbs around the cosmic tree. So this is Priscilla, cosmic tree. If you weren't here at the beginning and you didn't hear the description of them, the meditations for the major arcana, go back and listen to them because they are just beautiful. Okay, are we almost at the end? Where are we? Oh, I just jumped. Oh, you got your birth card. That's wonderful. Beautiful. Hey, Tina, welcome. Oh, Tina. Tina is joining me. So for those of you that don't know, just let me go to here. I am starting a 22-week class, and it starts on Tuesday. And Tina is one of the class members. So I'm really excited. This is a class for, there's I believe there's 4 spaces left in the class. It's a 22-week class. We're going to go through the whole tarot deck. We're going to approach it in a very integrated kind of a way, the way that I read. And yeah, I'm so excited to do this. So if you want to hop on board, it starts on Tuesday. And if you can't make all 22 weeks, you can watch it. You can watch the classes that you miss in the playback, but it's going to be amazing. And I did a video about the class. So hopefully I can come back and link these videos later that I've been referring to. Yeah, so very excited. If you go down in the description box below and you go to there's a link to my link tree, and that's probably the fastest way to get to the class. Okay. Very excited to meet you in person, Tina. All right. Oh, that's a nice synchronicity, Scott. That's fantastic. Okay, Tina. Yes, I will pull a card for Tina. Scott and Ange. Okay, Scott, did I miss pulling a card? Thank you for the super chat, Candy. You're such a sweetheart. Scott, can you just let me know if oh, you're welcome, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm a little bit confused about where I am. So Scott, if I missed you, I'm happy to pull a card for you. So just let me know I think I did pull a card for you. Okay, so this is for Tina. And if somebody can I already pulled one for Ange, yes. Okay, just let me know, Scott, if you did get a card. Okay, so I'm going to focus on Tina. This is a card for Tina. Ooh. Okay. You know, this reminds me of, this is a lot of energy. And I feel like in this, with this card, it's like, embrace the wind. You know, like if the weather today shifts and you can have an opportunity to go out into the air and really feel the influence of the air, that might be the medicine that you need for today. Okay, where are we at? I'm glad that your card was just what you needed, Kyle Liz. Interesting. You use labradorite for grounding. I tend to use labradorite for going the other way. It's really interesting, you know, how we all relate to crystals in slightly different ways. I think that's the power of intention with crystals is so important. Yeah. I'm also doing a crystal class if you're interested. If you've never been to the shop on my website, you should go and check out what's happening with me. 222. Okay. You're so welcome, Candy. Wow, another synchronicity. That is amazing. And Karen's in the class on Tuesday too. Hello, Karen. That's wonderful. I'm glad that glad to see you in the chat. And Tina's looking forward to the class. That's great. Yeah, me too. I'm really excited about it. Okay. And I think we're almost at the end. And Michaela Celeste, of course, I'll pull a card for you. Thank you for the super chat, Priscilla. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think this is going to be the last one. So this is for Michaela. And Michaela Celeste. Wow. This is a major arcana. So this is 19, the 19th card. It's called Infinite Paths. I did read descriptions at the beginning of this video for all of the major arcana. Beautiful. We haven't had many major arcanas come up in these pulls, so that's it's very powerful. Alrighty. I'm going to see if I can glue or fix my damaged card. That's too bad. Oh well. So I didn't hear from Scott, just to double check that Scott got a card, but I hope we're all good with that. Okay, so thank you. I appreciate you. I know it's a long one today, but this, I felt like I wanted to take my time in sharing this, and it really kind of helped me to just kind of move through how in the world I'm going to work with this deck and what I'm going to do with this deck. I am going to do a couple of readings. I'm going to get out the Wild Unknown. I just feel like these two decks want to have a little conversation with each other. So I might do that spread with 3 and 3 with the Wild Unknown. And there's definitely a few oracles that I'm going to pull out and see how they work with that. I do past life readings. I have a very specific intention for my past life readings, and so I'm going to pull out my past life decks, and I might do another video shortly bringing in the energy of this deck as I contemplate it a little bit more. So thank you. It was I really enjoyed everybody's feedback today. It was beautiful to share with you. Maybe, yeah, I could message him because it's still a fairly new deck. Oh, okay, great. I did read for Scott. The Inuit call the labradorite the Northern Light Stone. Oh, that's good to know. Love that. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'm out of here and I've got lots of videos coming up. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notification of when I'm going live. And I tend to put up I try to put my thumbnails up ahead of time so you can see what's coming up on my channel. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Be kind to one another and especially be gentle and kind with yourself. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are in the chat, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.